So for this video and the next video, we're going to give you some plays that are going to get into the head of your opponent. And what I mean by that is we're going to show you the bubble screen here. Then we're going to show you quarterback draw, a makeshift quarterback draw, in which we like to go to when it comes to attacking your opponent. On this bubble screen, it's a non-play action bubble screen. Those are very powerful in the game, okay? It's something that you're going to have some great success with, because of the way that your trip set is going to really give you two blockers of two options to block any of those players. Now, for your best success and the way I run it, I keep it in my audibles, and I like to run it to where I've got the ability to see that if they're in a base alignment, I'm going to go to it, okay? Base align, you're going to have the ability for those guys to get really nice yardage on it because of the way the guys back up on it first, okay? When they base align, especially cover 3 and cover 2, cover 4, same thing, but basically you see how those guys are going to go back first, giving us the angles to go ahead, get that ball off, and throw it down the field. That was cover 3. Now cover 2, show you the same thing. As long as they base align, and you're going to base align, you can see that those guys are not in a press position. They're usually about 8 yards off the ball. And again, what you're going to see is they're going to get those blocks. They're going to go backwards, catch that ball. They get some good yards around the field, right? Now, even if they're in hard flats, you can still make this work. I typically will make sure that if I'm seeing somebody who's doing hard flats, I'm going to want to go to the wide side of the field with it. Meaning, this can work on the short side of the field most of the time, but against hard flats, you're creating a bad angle. When you're in the wide side of the field, the Y and the X have a good job of blocking that hard flat. See how he blocked them there and gone out to the outside? But if you're on the short side of the field, it's not going to work the same, okay? The reason for that is that you're coming at a different angle because the player is closer to the line of scrimmage, to the outside. So I'm base aligning, and now I'm doing this. See how those guys are more bunched? You could definitely get that guy. See how the guy missed him? And I wouldn't have thrown it because that could have been a pick. That's why if you're going to run this and you want to run it as a specific opportunity to get under the skin of your player, just kind of have some easy yards, run it to the wide side when it's base aligned. You could be on the left hash and you see that they're base aligned, just flip it, So you see if they're base aligned and you're like, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and do that play real quick, right? You're going to flip the play. Now, this is a good option to show you this because now the cloud flat's coming from the top side, right? So here we go again. We're going to do this. You can see that we're going to throw that. See how high he gets? And you're still going to get the opportunity to get some good yards when it comes to, the option there. So that's why I really like it with that. You're going to the wide side of the field. If you go to the wide side of the field when I'm going to flip this defense and I'm going to put them in hard flats. Actually, I don't want to flip the defense. I want to keep them in hard flats like this, right? So I keep them in hard flats. Now I'm going to go to the wide side of the hard flat. It's a different angle as well. So I want to make sure that you see that as well. And here we go. So it's the safety that's coming down. Let's see here. We're still going to be able to get a much better opportunity when the safety's there than you would if somebody else was there to the wide side. So that's why the wide side of the field is your best bet, no matter if it's hard flats or cloud flats, when they're base aligned. I just want to make sure you understand that. So that way you have that opportunity. There are ways to make sure that you get it non-base aligned, but it's just not worth the risk, in my opinion. It's one of those deals that do the play when they're base aligned, or if you notice that when they baseline press, it's their way of coming at you with their blitzes, right? So they guys do this. Maybe it looks like a crossfire 3 type look where they're blitzing both those guys. Yeah, by all means, fire this up. You're going to be able to get outside with it. They're taking their players out of it by blitzing them. So if that's something that they're blitzing hard from the left side, definitely use this whether or not they're pressed or not.